Oh, funny. But up next, we have our very own segment called Financially Fit. Our very own JB is in the house.
Yes.
And I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I'm ready to get my credit continuously right.
Indeed. So let's talk about that real quick. So for you guys, right, obviously I own a company called the Business Kings and the Great Credit Club. So if you guys have some challenges with your credit, go online to the OnPointRadioshow.com and say, I am challenged with my credit. We're going to challenged. And, we're going to pick one individual and we're going to do their credit for them for free. So we can't do anything better than that. But you've got to go onto the site and you've got to register. So we're going to try to help you out because I believe that credit is leverage and it is the pathway. One thing I did get from Barbara is that she talked about, you think about those people on 125th Street. One of the things, if you want to own the business, it's one thing to own the business, but strive to own the building that the business is in. So even if your business doesn't work out or something happens and you have to move, at least if you have to move out, you can rent it to somebody else that could afford it because now you own the location, right? So what we're going to talk about, some 6 ideas to build wealth outside the stock market. Because I'm not sure if you guys, when I was working in corporate America, my 401k plan was the most I really ever invested into the stock market, right? No one really gave me any true stock tips. Although when I did, I lost money. So, it didn't feel very good to me. So, therefore, a lot of us, we stay away from what we don't understand. What I did understand from some books and some seminars I went to was I did understand the idea of real estate. So, by the time I was 30, I was able to own about 14 different properties. So, we're going to talk about some ways that you could build wealth because it's not about how much you make on a 9-to-5 job. Wealthy people, they'll never tell you how much they make per hour. They will tell you what they own. It's about assets. It's about a portfolio. Because even if you have a job and you make $100,000 or $130,000 a year, you can't leave that to your children. But we can leave property, assets, things of that nature to our individuals. So the next generation doesn't start off at entry level. So let's talk about these 6 ideas because they talk about how wealth management and financial planning process in America is broken, right? It's not an uplifting idea and concept when we talk about building wealth and old money. And we know, ladies and gentlemen, that if no one ever establishes new money, there's never any old money to be passed down. So one of the concepts that we talk about, obviously, is rental properties and vacation homes. So the idea of passive income, the ability for you to actually have someone give you money and be an asset on your books. Number one, if someone's giving you money, it's kind of an asset, it's cash flow. So in order to be in position, obviously your credit is important. You want to put yourself in a position where you are saving some money. Those days of coming in maybe with, you can still do some FHA loans where you're putting down 3% and making some things happen. The loans that we had back in the day, they've now kind of evaporated. But one of the keys to this whole concept is that you need to make more money than you spend and invest the difference wisely, right? So let me say that again. Make more money than you spend. All right. So many people, this thing called Parkinson's law, where many people, they spend what they make. So regardless of the fact, if you're making $50,000, you're still spending at a certain clip. Even if you get a raise to $70,000, we feel we could spend more money. So you still feel like you're broke even though you've made more money. So the key is you've got to kind of refine your spending habits and you have to develop daily habits that result in wealth accumulation. And we talk about this thing called financial maturity and discipline. We spend our money. As you get older, you should spend your money a little wisely, more wisely, a little differently, right? I'm not sure about you, Kurt, Will, and maybe you guys do. I've never been a real big collector of certain things. So I don't have a lot of, at this age in my life, I don't have a lot of $200 and $300 sneakers. Me, personally, because I can do better things with my income as I've gotten older. Right? So we've got to evaluate where we are. And yeah, you might feel you deserve this bag. You might deserve that. But if your quality of life and what your dreams and aspirations don't line up to it, then maybe you have to sacrifice that $1,000 bag or this $900 whatever because of other priorities. And you know what that comes in? That's what's called financial maturity. So we talk about those rental properties in those homes. Another aspect to creating wealth is commercial property. right? As you move up, now you want people on a larger scale. Obviously, we talked about the bid and the 125th Street. And Barbara, what'd you say to the square footage when you first got in? It started off at what, 30 something?
15 to 30.
$15 to $30 a square foot. And where is it now?
150 to 200.
And people, if you guys understand how to do math, you need to understand that is a tremendous difference in what some of these individuals. So, and I'm just going to ask you, let's say, I don't know, 1,200, 1,500 square feet on, let's say, 125th between 5th and something else, whatever. What might that run a person on a monthly basis? Just give me an idea what people are paying in rent.
Well, I'll give you mine.
Okay.
I have 1,900 square feet. I'm upstairs, and it's not one of the newer buildings, and
Okay.
I pay $10,000 a month.
$10,000 a month on the second floor.
On the second floor, and not the best building.
And not the best building. So you've got to be ready to compete. But here's the idea. Nothing wrong with commercial property.
Right.
The bottom line is you want to be on the receiving end
Yes.
of that check, right? I remember we were doing a project. We were building 100 condos down in southern New Jersey. And one of the places that we were trying to rent out to a post office. And the post office signed like a 99-year lease. Right? We were trying to get an Eckerd's to come in and a bank to come in as well. Valley National was looking at that location. So the bottom line is that you want to just change the way you look at things. My mother would say, rent in New York is so expensive and you got to move out and it's not good for us and it's that. But if you're the landlord, it's a different perspective. Right? So the key to the game is that most people, we just want to be in position to make that happen. Another way, so we talked about two ways outside the stock market. Another way is franchising. That's why I asked Maria, what are the opportunities and what are the chances, right? Because franchising, you're basically buying a business in a box, right? They pretty much, I'm sure even with Blink, they'll probably teach you, they'll coach you. If you're a McDonald's, you've got to go to McDonald's University. So they're going to really, obviously now the key to a franchise, that most of them, they want you to be self-sufficient. They want you to not be in a position where you cannot have a second job. They want you to be like, for the next 2 years or so, you need to be able to live whether this business makes any money or not. You need to be in position to make this thing happen. So you have to be very well vested when it comes down to another business concept, which is a franchise. And one of the things that actually helped me out, I got involved in a business at an early age. I got involved in what we call network marketing. Right. So I had some success in that industry. I think it's one of the entry points where, you ask your friends and family members to support you. You might be selling some of these different things that are out there. I think there's another level to the business. And you've got to learn how to go into the cold market. But it's some business sales skills at the end of the day that make a difference. And just for you guys that are in business, you will make some money on your warm market, but you have to get wealthy. You have to learn to tap into the cold market. You make some money off people that you know, but there's a whole lot more people in the world that you don't know than you do know. So you have to learn to tap into the cold market, and that's where the marketing skills come into play, right? You can't ask your fans and family do you a favor forever. So that's franchising. Another way that people are making money is peer-to-peer lending, social lending, and crowdfunding. We have had people on the show that have used these opportunities, these Kickstarter campaigns and things of that nature and what's the good thing about it is that you need to know the best indicator of successful business is not your theories and ideas, it's cash flow. It's how much your sales are, right? You go in Shark Tank, they're going to ask you a couple of questions, right? How'd you come to your evaluation? How many sales do you have? What do you pay for the product? What do you sell it for, right? So they want to know, and how much money do you have invested? So those are opportunities. If you want to know whether or not your concept makes some sense, is use these different sites, peer-to-peer lending and social lending and crowdfunding. So I did it before. We had a project, and we did not do well at all. So we might have thought, and many times you might think that your idea and your concept and your product is absolutely phenomenal, but the market never lies. If nobody is buying you, if nobody's hiring you, then that gives you a great indication that you have to work on your game. If you're a football player and you think you're good, but nobody wants to put you on their team, then that gives you a good indicator that you got to work on your game.
Unless you're Colin Kaepernick.
Right? And don't kneel, right? But at the end of the day, it's another social issue. But just to kind of keep that in mind for all of us who are in business, if you're not getting gigs.
So far you gave us 4. What are the 4 again?
Sure. The 4 are real estate, rental property, commercial real estate, franchising, and also generating money is peer-to-peer lending, social lending, and crowdfunding. So the fifth, there are other alternative lending opportunities out there, which is private equity and private money, friends and family members, right? Learning how to put together some kind of a business plan, because we're talking about what these are the ways outside the stock market to earn and move ahead. So outside of that, develop a group of organization. I like to I have a group of individuals that we know that we have to work on our credit. We know we have to work on our finances, and we're accountable to each other. So if in fact something happens, we should be able to say, you know what? Hey, why don't we all pool our resources together and be able to tackle this and eat this elephant? And you will find, from me being in the business, that people, and I say it all the time, that other ethnicities, they compete on a completely different level, because we're playing golf. We're playing bowling. We're playing this game as an individuality or as individuals. These individuals are playing the game like the NFL. They've got a whole team of family members that they position to say, here's what you're going to do, here's what I'm going to do, and we're going to do this because you talk about community, right? Mm-hmm. So too often we fight by ourselves. So these are just some concepts. And the other concept on how to make money outside the stock market is a conversation. It's called cryptocurrency. Some of you guys might have heard this thing called bitcoins and things of that nature. I think that it's beyond the fact that now it is a proven entity. It is something that people do believe. It's no longer a farce and it's a fraud. It's not fake news at this point. But the banking system will probably tell you that, because banks make a lot of money off of fees. They make a lot of money off of interest. So the idea of the cryptocurrency, and people have heard of Bitcoin, but it's only one of the cryptocurrencies. And I'm just going to read to you what it is, the technical definition, because that, and also the seventh one is obviously the cannabis industry you talked about as well. That's another way to make some money outside the stock market. One of my mentors told me, he said, Jeff, if you have the ability to market to a person's addiction, you will make a ton of money. So you think about people that gamble, people that shopping, people that go to the strip clubs or whatever it might be, shopping, smoking, whatever it is. These are people's addiction. So if you can market to a person's addiction, you typically never go out of business. So just talking about crypto, that makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. So cryptocurrency, they say, is a medium of exchange like normal currencies such as USD, but designed for the purpose of exchanging digital information through a process made possible by certain principles of cryptography. Cryptography is used to secure the transactions and control the creation of new coins. This first cryptocurrency was created with Bitcoin back in 2009. Today, there are hundreds of other cryptocurrencies, also referred to as altcoins. Put another way, cryptocurrency is electricity converted into lines of code with monetary value. In its simplest form, cryptocurrency is digital currency. So these things start off at a very, very, they're now, cryptocurrency must be like $5,000 for a Bitcoin. It started off at very low, and it's just going to continue to go up. So there are some people that they look at it like it's the stock market, and the ability just to trade money without having those different fees. You could send money to a foreign country and send them $100, and they'll wind up they might take $25, $30 in fees. If it's through cryptocurrency, you send 100, they get 100. So we need to be at the forefront of some of these things. Too often in life, we're at the back end of these. And I will say that in my lifetime, there was I was having this conversation with Yasmin about the cannabis industry. But if we knew what we knew about prohibition back in the 1920s, when alcohol was illegal, and now it's legal, and every place you go in Manhattan, if you had an opportunity to invest in it then, knowing what you know now, would you have done it? Well, we're looking at the growth of a couple of industries that are happening in our lifetime, such as the industry of the cannabis industry, such as cryptocurrencies. So I just encourage you, real estate's been around for a long time as well. I encourage you to, do some homework, do some research. And as I close out my segment, I just had some pointers for you guys about investing and about business. The best investment you could ever make before you spend any money is in education. I see a lot of people, they get $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 and they want to invest. The best thing I could do is say, if you get a lump sum of money, hold on to it. Don't be impulsive. Be patient, because every deal sounds like a good deal. My grandfather told me a long time ago, he said, the best time to go shopping for a car is when you have no money. Because when you have money, they're going to put an offer on the table that you cannot resist. So the best time to do it is when you have no money. So education is probably the best investment that you could ever make in money, right? And the best track record of success when other people want to bring you into something is what's their resume like. And don't worry about getting a second opinion. It doesn't matter your brother, your aunt, your uncle. The second investment you can make, a good investment, is in your credit, right? For a very nominal fee, you have to be able to leverage the capital society that we live in, right? You've got to be able to walk in a bank. It's the only country where people walk in and they just give you tons of money. America is a great place to live because of the credit system that we have that promotes home ownership and things of that nature. And then lastly, I'll leave you with this. Does anybody know what I've come to find the most expensive, undeveloped real estate in the world? Anybody know where it is?
In your brain.
Absolutely. It is in the brain. The thing that most people do not develop is the ability to think, the ability to reason, information. And when you think about what people have created from the mind, from this streaming concept, from televisions to radios, to anything that we can put our hand on, to this thing called the internet, to cell phones, it was invented by someone who had a thought. And they did their homework and they did their research. So I encourage you, everybody, we've all are sitting on tremendous value in real estate, right between our two ears. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of people look outside and they don't develop who they are as an individual by reading, by investigating, by going to seminars, and they wonder how come they personally are getting foreclosed on. How come I'm not winning as an individual? I'm getting foreclosed on for every opportunity I have. Well, you didn't develop your real estate. And the more money you put in, the more marketable you become to yourself as an individual, the more marketable you become to the marketplace, and the more value you bring to other people, the more marketable you become. So it's very difficult to get new money on old ideas. So those are some 6 or 7 ways that we build wealth. Sure, you guys might have some comments, some ideas. Some of us are not educated in the stock market and how it works and where we come from. So that being said, you guys might have some ideas and thoughts, but those are some ways I thought we can build some wealth together.